Hi everyone, this is Alejandro Cremades, and today we're going to be talking about how to craft powerful email subject lines for investors. So before we get started, make sure that you hit that subscribe button, and this way you will never miss out on any of the videos that we roll out every week. So the emails that you send to investors are ultimately what is going to separate you and the money. If you really nail it, you're going to get that money in the bank that is going to help you to really get that money that your company needs in order to take things to the next level. Right now, there's just so much noise out there that setting yourself apart from everyone else is critical when you're trying to get into the inbox of absolutely anybody, especially those investors that have their inboxes about to explode. In today's video, we're going to be giving you some tips and a step-by-step guide as to how to really come across with a bang when you're trying to get in front of an investor via email. So without further said, let's get into it. So essentially, why is the subject line so important? The subject line is critical because right now we live in a world full of noise. Those investors, you wouldn't believe their inboxes. I mean, they end up the day with hundreds and hundreds of emails that they leave unread. So by really crafting a great subject line, you're ultimately going to increase the chances of having that investor opening your email. So some of the subject lines that you want to stay away from could be any of the following. Best investment opportunity. Invest with us. Great company to invest. Selling X, Y, or Z. So ultimately, all the really awful subject lines, what they have in common is that they're very vague, they're very open-ended, it really looks like you're selling them something, and investors, they're tired of that. So you need to do it with a different approach. It needs to be more personalized, more high-touch type of approach, and that's really the only way that you're going to get them to open your email. So what you want to do when it comes to the subject line, it needs to be catchy. It needs to be super catchy and short. It needs to be something that maybe they have an interest on, whether it's on their investment thesis or whether it's one of their hobbies that maybe you throw in there in the subject line. But you always want to limit it to not going more than 60 characters. If you go more than 60 characters, then that subject line is going to be cut off during the preview or the way that the preview is being shown on their own inbox, whether they use Outlook, Gmail, or whatever that is. So it needs to be a subject line that on the preview they can read it right away. Something that you can do is perhaps mention a company that they're working with. This would help them to really right away know that that's an email that they want to open, because investors, they're always going to be very much on top on their portfolio companies, meaning those companies that they have invested in. Maybe you can use a company that they have invested in very recently. You bet that they're going to be opening that email. Something else that you could do is mentioning the industry that you're working with. If this is an investor that has an investment thesis that is specifically oriented in investing in your industry where your company is operating in, you can use that on the subject line because that's going to be of interest and is going to spark the curiosity for them in order to open your email. You should also mention a reference. Maybe there is someone that referenced you to this investor. Maybe you can put them on the subject line, Joe Schmo, or whatever the name of that first and last name of that person is. But that is always social proof. You want social proof on the subject line because what you always want to do is you want to increase the chances of having that investor getting that curiosity and clicking in it. And by having names that they recognize, that is going to allow them to really take it to the next step and opening your email. So this could be maybe like a professor that you have, a colleague that you have, a friend and family, that they have a relationship with this investor that you're looking to target. On the subject line, you don't want to give too many details. You want to keep it high level, and you want to spark the curiosity. If you're trying to throw everything on the subject line, not only is going to be cut off with the preview, but then also it's going to diminish the potential curiosity that you want to get from the investor. So again, you want to really keep it short, sweet, and simple. Don't start with the RE two dots. Essentially, what that means is like you're responding to an email that they send you, you're tricking the investor. You don't want to do this because an investment, when they finally invest in your business, is going to come from a position of trust, whether that is building the relationship with you, whether you've been delivering on your word and they got excited and now they want to make an investment in your business. But by misleading them, by trying to trick them to open your email, ultimately you're doing yourself a disservice. Yes, they may open your email, but ultimately it's not going to come with an investment. Start with your most important words first, especially when they're looking at the email on their phones. It's going to get even shorter, the preview, versus perhaps being on the desktop. So for this reason, you want to always start with the most powerful words so that the other words coming, they may not be as important, and even if they get cut off, it's not going to be that big of a deal. You should also use keywords for their filtering and the way that they search. This could be either for shifting through all the unread emails that they have in their inbox, or perhaps if they want to go back to the email that you've sent them so that they could perhaps re-review the conversation that you were trying to initiate, or maybe like an exchange or anything, but you need to be able to stand out from all the emails that they have in their inbox and use specific keywords that are pertaining to you and to your business so that they can identify you and see you right off the bat. Don't talk about returns, the value, anything like that, because then they're gonna think like you're sending them a coupon offer. So don't talk about money on the subject line. Also, just so you know, spam filters, they are gonna get triggered when you're putting any dollar amount or any special offer or returns or things like that. In addition, you could get in trouble with the Securities and Exchange Commission from a securities perspective, because it could be viewed as you making a promise and assuring a certain type of return, and that is a big no-no. You should also incorporate perhaps an attachment, because when you incorporate an attachment, the symbol of an attachment putting into the email, it's going to also appear on the preview, on the way that they are reviewing the email. And this is going to add more value and perhaps more credibility towards the other emails that they have on their inbox. So hopefully you like this video, hit a like, leave a comment as well below and let me know what you're up to. Subscribe as well to the channel so that you don't miss out on all the videos that we're rolling out every week. And if you are raising money, send me an email at alejandro@pantheraadvisors.com. I would love to help you out with your fundraising efforts. Thank you so much for watching.